Man Selling has been canceled due to lack of content. Oh, no, whoa, what's this? Oh, a bad call ball. Hey, that would make a great tutorial. Let's get started. All of us have a sports fan in our lives, and every sports fan has their very favorite team. And unfortunately, on behalf of all those wonderful referees out there, they don't always make the best calls. So we have to have a way to retaliate. That's right. A bad call ball is the perfect, soft, squishable object for that sports fan to toss at the television when the refs get the call wrong. I'm going to talk to you through making these tutorials today. It's super, super fun. Check this out. We're using our standard orange peel wedge template. You'll need 4 of them for a football and 6 for a rounded ball. And if you don't have one of these templates, you can bounce below to the description where we have free printables and links to all of these supplies over at Missouri Star Quilt Company. On your printable today, we have the template just as you see. If you like there, use cardstock printing this one out. We also have, this is your laces for your football. If you're not a sports fan at all, these are only for footballs. We'll just leave it at that. And then several different letters that you can cut out and put on with a little bit of our liquid fabric fused glue right here. I'm gluing these, not stitching these on for us, but I bet that's more info than you already needed. Let's get right down to construction, right? Easiest thing to do is pick 2 fabrics that look just like your favorite team's colors, right? And I'm going to purposefully use the template here because I'm going to just cut this with a rotary cutter real quick. Cutting 2 layers at once is no problem. I'm just going to slide my template so that I'm maximizing my felt here. And I'm coming around the corner this way, and I'm going to finish this cut to keep myself safe. I need to push just a little bit harder with my rotary cutter. There we go. And the same, just spin that if you're not super ambidextrous or using one of those cool Lazy Susans. Okay, so there, that comes around this way. And the last little trim off of the corner. So, like I said, you'll need 4 of your orange peel shapes for the football, and you're going to need 6 for a round ball. Today we're doing the football for you, okay? Construction-wise, I'm just going to take and join opposite colors, 1 seam at a time. If you were using anything that had a print, this would be right sides together because we will turn these right out so that we can go ahead and stuff them. And I'm starting up at the tippy top corner, and I'm going to stitch all the way around to the end and then join the next 2 parts. I'll show you the end here in a second. So all the way down to the first corner. Now I'm just going to go ahead and grab, and remember, it's right sides together. So I'm going to fit this in here, back up at the corner. And then joining on the last piece, I'm going to first stitch it all the way around, and then we'll leave the opening we need. So back up to the top corner we go. Make sure all my fabric's nice and tidy in there. And for the last seam, I'm pulling all of the meat out of the way, and we're going to stitch from here to the corner, from here to the corner, leaving an opening for right side turning. Okay, let me bring my needle up to get in the middle of that project. If you want to back stitch this, it's a real good idea when you're starting because we're going to put a little bit of wear and tear on that opening. So back stitching. And then one last trick, because I'm going to stuff this, right now I'm putting all 4 corners together, pinching it down, and I'm going to do a really tight little stitch right across the top of there just to make sure all of my points come together. And you could back stitch right over that one if you wanted there. Okay, and we're going to do the same to my opening right down here again. So right around there. Back stitch for security. Pinch it. Make sure you got the tip secure. Back. If you got a thread cutter, use that. And at this moment, let's take our scissors and slow down a little bit. We have plenty of time still left on the scoreboard. And I'm just going to go ahead and trim those off. Like that. And like this. Okay, we'll move those somewhere nice for later. And now we're going to go ahead and get inside. There it is. It's such a nice job sewing it, I don't see. So for this trick, I've got my fingers in the opening just like this, and I'm going to start to take my thumb. This is a small turn. It's nice and easy to do. And use my thumbs to push the meat back out like this. And now it's time to start thinking of your letters. And as I showed you on our printables, we've got all kinds of different fonts to do. And I literally take that printable. You'll have to print multiples if you're doing multiple bad call balls, because you're just going to cut right through the paper. And then we're going to make our letters or our laces, and we're going to glue them on at this point. And the reason we're gluing them on at this point is I'm using a glue that's going to really hold nicely on the felt, but I want to let it sit overnight to dry completely before I really start stuffing and prying away at it. So I'd have this like this, and you can see using the fabric fuse here, I've already started to glue on the word bad. And, oh, I wanted to show you how to cut these out first, didn't I? I've got my laces ready to cut. So you can see right off of our printable, there's those laces, and I just put a pin through there to hold. I'm not going to cut through the pin, I promise. I'm using some of my favorite little scissors. And then just through the paper, we're going to cut. And for a lot of these, I just do the outside edges first, and then I'll go back in and trim out those little parts for the laces. This is what helps you throw the football if you're not a sports fan. Okay, so from this point on, I'm just going to come in here and snip, 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 snip. And you may want to work all the way through this. I've cut enough of these in the last few days that at this point on, I'm just going to get the mess out of the way, come down to where those snips were, and cut. It's every other one. Cut. And the last one. Oop. Cut just like that. And when those are all done, it looks like I need to tidy up a little bit better, but that's okay. You'll do the same to the other side to create the laces, just like you see right there on the back of your football, the 4-wedge piece. Now we can talk about gluing these bad boys on, or these bad call letters on. As I said, I've already glued those. Here is the key. While you're gluing them, let's make sure our letters are legible, right? And here's my trick. I kind of get a little bit of moisture on my finger so that I can then usually stick them and pick them up. Now, again, felt to felt, I want a good bead of glue on there. And then what I'm doing with my other hand is my hand has come inside of the ball, and I'm actually allowing myself to put some pressure between the two hands there. Hopefully that makes some good sense. So picking it up to make sure I'm on the back of the letter. Gluing it nice. This glue dries nice and clear. So if you have a little bit of extra showing out right now, it won't be a big deal at all. Oop. Unless you stick the letters to your fingers, of course. And by the way, my children, as most of you probably like to know, love to play soccer. And we were at a game this last few days, and I really wish I had one of these with me. However, these are best used in the privacy of your own home. Do not carry these with you to a sporting event, or they may have to ask you to leave. Plus, you won't even get your bad call ball back if you toss it onto the field, if you know what I'm saying. So, you're all glued on just like that, right? Now, let's talk a little bit more about the stuffing process. So, I've got a bunch of my loose polyfill stuff here, and it will take about a handful. Wow, that's way too much. Probably about like that. We'll see. I like to take my stuffing and kind of loosen it up and break it apart. Okay, that keeps it from looking really lumpy inside later on. Now, let's say we had all of our letters They were glued yesterday, dry today. Now let's go ahead and pinch this, pull it out, and then I'm just going to take some of this in little chunks and pieces, and I'm going to stuff it in using my thumb and pushing it towards the corners. A little bit here, pushing toward the corner. And then once you have it all full, while I'm getting it the way I like, you could be thinking about, we're going to hand stitch this close. Now, in working on this project, it's a small opening, and I found kind of a cool trick. You probably all already know this, but I think I've found something clever I want to show you here in a second. So the key to the stuffing is enough that it looks good. Plenty that you have a good grip, you can really toss it, it's going to fly well. However, if you have decorative pieces around the television, you want to make sure it's a little softer. You don't want anybody taking off your nice decorations off the mantle or something like that as they're hitting it. I know, bad joke, sorry. We're moving on. Now, we need to finish this, and we're going to do it by hand. And one of the things I've already prepped out over here on my daughter's favorite team, I won't say it here in case it's not your favorite team, is I have learned that once I start my hand stitching, I actually am not going to worry about each stitch. We're going to just make a series of loops that go back and forth, and we're going to be able to cinch this close. So you can see I've started, but let me tell you what I've really done here. Now, right now I've just come back out of the green, so this is heading into the blue. As it comes into the blue, I'm reaching around and I'm pinching, and I'm going into the blue and back out of the blue, and I'm leaving that nice and loose. I'm coming into the green first. Oh, let me get my fingers organized, thank you. Into the green, out of the green. Okay, into the blue, back out of the blue, and it's kind of a little rocking of the needle. Make sure your threads don't get twisted as you're going. As you're going here, so I'm going to go ahead and do in, out, and a polyester thread will give you the strength to be able to pull on this nice and taut if you need. I'm going to do this quickly to finish off so you can see here. And then I'm going to bring this back out on the blue real quick. And now as I have this, I can just start to cinch it closed. And it's going to go ahead and tighten up for me. And I'm kind of doing, do you see that? It's kind of like a wiggling motion. And I'm making sure I'm not pulling on it too hard. I don't want to make it look like unlike the rest of the stitches. But once that's done there, we can come back in. Now I'm going into the actual seam itself, and I used a white thread so you can see what I'm doing. Of course, you'd want to use something that matches a little bit better. First, I'm going to make one loop to pull it in taut like that, and then I'm coming back out. This time, I'm making a few twists with my finger, handing myself the needle, pulling it down, and then I'll pull that nice and taut to snug it up. When it's all done, we just cut our stitches off like yay. And we have a finished throwing device that will keep you and your sports fan a little calmer in the seat of their easy chair in the privacy of your own home. Boy, am I glad I was able to come up with something today. I was so afraid they were going to cancel the show. Don't worry, next week we've got something fantastic coming here at Man Sewing.